Hey, good morning, Jess. Good morning.
Check.
All right, there we are.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
There we go. Awesome. Sorry about that.
So apparently my telepathy experiment has failed, or I needed to remember to put on my headset.
Yeah, I had mine off and it started coming on the speaker behind me and I was like, oh, let me turn that off. And then it was nowhere. I was like, oh, okay.
I definitely have had people's note takers or AI assistants join meetings that the people themselves did not join.
It's
And I
very bizarre.
wonder if it's intentional or they just forgot. I'm tending to feel like it's a little more maybe forgot.
Yeah, it's interesting that the note takers can go without the person.
Mhm. Yeah, and they're always on time.
Gotta love technology.
Yes. It looked like there was one other person who was waiting to come in with the note taker, and I don't see them. Oh, hello, Jen. Good morning.
Morning. Sorry I'm a little bit late.
You're good. We were just talking about whether the person whose note taker is here would also be here, or whether they forgot, or whether it was intentional to send the note
Oh,
taker. I think all of the above are possible. I'm looking at the caption settings for just a second, just to make sure they're available. And it looks like they are. All right. So this morning we are going to have a 78 card shuffle. So what I'd like you to do, if you have a tarot deck with you, is please pull out your queens and your empress. If you don't have a tarot deck, that is fine. Let me share our document for today in the chat. That's the lower right-hand corner. And I will pin that so folks who come later can get there. It's the same document as last week, and we'll post the link with the video replay for our paid members. So in this week's document, you do have pictures of the 5 queens in Rider-Waite-Smith, and this particular version is called the Pink Lemonade version. It, it just means there's a slight pink tint to the cards. Hello and welcome everyone. This is our weekly business clarity call, and we are pulling the queens out of our tarot decks. If you have a deck, if not, in the chat lower right-hand corner, text box looking thing, message box, lower right-hand corner, I have pinned the document for today, and that has pictures of all 5 of the tarot queens we're going to be looking at today. So you're welcome to shuffle through your own deck or to use pinned document that's in the chat. Everyone have your cards? Not quite yet? You do, okay.
I'm still working on it, but I'm almost there.
Okay. I pulled cards out of 2 decks for today, and the first one, the queens are very easy to find. The second deck, I had to get halfway through before I started to find any queens.
Are we just pulling queens, or was there one more card?
Queens and the Empress.
Empress. Okay.
I grabbed the High Priestess. Should I put her back in?
That's so
That's what I
funny.
grabbed. Yeah.
Okay, keep her in then. She's meant to be here.
Oh, okay.
Because I have to the side my High Priestess cards that I also pulled for this morning, and then I was like, no, let's not complicate it. But she's meant to be here then.
Awesome.
Not many figures in the tarot have crowns aside from the kings and queens and empress and emperor. The High Priestess is one of the few that does. So it makes sense to include her. So I'm going to begin talking about the cards in generalities. Hi, Juliet. I've got your message. You're new here, so welcome. Glad to have you. This is a very relaxed tarot call. We are going to look at an aspect of the tarot. This morning, it's going to be tarot queens, and then we will draw cards together. I can help interpret if you need that or would like that. Lots of people like to get a second opinion because tarot cards can have such layered meanings. And we will talk about how our reading impacts your business and gives you some clarity for the week going forward. We meet weekly on Thursday mornings at 10 o'clock Eastern. So we're glad to have you. And definitely continue putting any questions in the chat. You're welcome. So I'm bringing back in my High Priestess. We are pulling the Tarot Queens out of our deck. If you don't have a deck, you'll see up in the chat, I have pinned at the top the link to our Google Doc for today. And that has pictures of the Tarot Queens. I did not include the High Priestess, but I started to. I've got her pulled from both decks that I pulled cards from this morning, and she was popping up for both Jessica and Jen. So I took that as a sign that she is meant to be here.
There are just 4 queens, right?
There are 4 queens and the Empress. Yes.
All right. I'm still tired, so I wanted to double check myself.
Yes, it's right. early for you, huh?
It is.
Well, I'm glad that you decided to join us.
Thank you. Okay, so I have everything, I believe.
All right, so we're going to look at the queens in the document for just a moment. And again, that link is pinned at the top of the chat. So something I'm noticing is that most of these queens have small circles as parts of their crowns. I'm going to interpret those as jewels. But notice the Queen of Swords has a very different crown. She doesn't have the small circles. Instead, it looks like crosses that are the negative space in the crown, like crosses cut into the crown. So the Empress has the biggest crown, which makes sense to me. And she actually has 7 stars in her crown, 7 jewels representing the Pleiades, the 7 sisters. That is also what's on the back of a Subaru, the 7 sisters. There are 7 stars there. To me, the Pleiades bring a message of hope and safety, because my limited understanding of the myth is that the sisters were being pursued, so unsafe, and they were placed into the sky as stars to protect them. So next up, we're going to go alphabetically through the suits. The Queen of Cups. And the first deck that I've pulled cards for from the deck for you, the Queen of Cups has got a really ornate cup. It's like a chalice with a lid. She is, all of the queens are holding something, including the Empress and High Priestess. So hers is a chalice, which makes sense for her cups suit. The Queen of Cups is like a social butterfly. She is very intuitive and has flowing creativity and communication. So she's able to get in touch with a lot of people and be heard and understood. So next up, our Queen of Pentacles. So the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Pentacles are both looking down at their symbols, and I feel like that's in reverence and respect for their positions, for their mission in life. So Queen of Pentacles is looking down at her large pentacle, and she's got some decoration here. She's the only one who has decoration around the frame out of the Tarot Queens. The Queen of Pentacles, if you have any biblical knowledge, whether from historical studies or otherwise, the Proverbs 31 woman is actually a great representation of the Queen of Pentacles. And the Proverbs 31 woman is described as industrious. She's efficient and gets things done. So this is part of that scripture is giving your servants their orders for the day. And to me, that translates to now as like starting your washing machine when you get up, turning on your dishwasher, those kinds of things. Those are giving your servants their instructions for the day. And the Queen of Pentacles is also a savvy businesswoman. You see that she is wearing purple in this deck, and purple is a sign of royalty and wealth. And purple is that because it used to take so many, I believe it was beetles, I could be incorrect, to make the color purple. It took many, many of the unit that they were using to create that color dye. And so it was an expensive dye. So next up is our Queen of Swords. And as we've already noticed, she's a little different. She is not looking down in her lap thoughtfully. She's holding her sword up straight, which represents truth and clear thinking. The swords are the cut the bullshit suit of the tarot to get through what's cloudy and foggy and right to what actually matters. She's also got one hand extended, and she's the only queen who is doing that. So it's like she's inviting people into her truth, where the two queens we've seen before are more introspective, more reflective, looking down. All right, next up, I've got the Queen of Wands. And she's different in a few ways too. She's the only queen who's holding two items. And so she's got her staff, which is also known as a wand. And she's also holding a flower. Wands are our fire element related cards. And this is a sunflower representing the sun and the fire. She's also got, it looks like maybe foxes up the top. I'm not certain about that one. I don't see these in the, I don't see exactly what they are in the Queen of Wands that's in your dock. It is a type of animal, but I could see how the fox could be seen as fiery. It's not as clear here. This is the Biddy Tarot. Not as clear what these are, but when you look back at your document, those are clearly lions, which are fire and ruled by the sun as Leo. So our Queen of Wands is very vibrant, creative, and passionate about the things that she's interested in. She pursues her interests with persistence. If you think about a fire running through, say, a wooded area, there's not much that can tell that fire no, stop. So this is your more unstoppable energy acting upon the world. And we'll go to the Empress next. We've talked about her crown already. We see around the Empress both water, and it's small and harder to see in the Rider-Waite-Smith in your dock, but it's over to the side. She's got water, and there's also land that she's sitting on, represented by these trees. She's holding up her scepter, and she's also looking out forward. Other queens, the reflective queens, the cups and the pentacles, were facing to the left, which is the past. And the Queen of Swords is facing the future. Queen of Wands is looking more towards the future as well. And I did forget with our Queen of Wands to mention her ever important black cat. I believe this is one of the only times that cats are represented in the tarot, traditionally. So our Queen of Wands is our witch of the tarot. She is into fiery practices that bring in her creativity, like I was saying, very much in touch with that sacral chakra. So we'll go back to the Empress. She has the sign of Venus on a heart. It's almost like a little shield or decoration. And sometimes she's represented as pregnant. She has a bit of a rounded belly. So I feel like that can be interpreted either way. I feel like a lot of the time it's festively plump, but I get that some people do interpret it as pregnant. And so there are decks that really emphasize that as a baby bump, showing her ability to create. So all of our queens in the tarot in general are made to rule over their respective realms. They are the elegant expression of power in each of those suits. Whereas the king is more matter of fact, structured, old, weathered type of wisdom. The queens are the more active. They are more fluid and, as I said, elegant expressions of power rather than simply having dominion like we might think of the emperor or kings. The queen is moving with what's around her, her conditions, her people, and her tools. So finally, our number 6 is the High Priestess. So the High Priestess is pulled in here because she's got her moon crown, and she is in a similar posture to a number of other cards. She's seated, she's holding something, which here is a scroll representing her deep knowledge and intuition, knowledge of secrets. We see the full moon in her crown, and then there's also a crescent moon, which, by the way, is where we are. We're in a waning crescent moon. The moon is about 1/3 illuminated, and it'll be new next week when we meet. So the High Priestess's territory then is the spiritual realm, the realm of hidden knowledge, which is also known as the occult. That's all that word means. Of course, we have practices and such associated with it, but the word itself is just hidden practices, hidden knowledge. And so our High Priestess is ruling over that knowledge, those secrets. Sometimes she can be seen as secretive. And in a way, that's also an expression of power. Rather than blurting out everything we know, sometimes it does pay to play our cards closer to the chest and only share knowledge when it is most beneficial, or if it becomes beneficial. There are lots of things that are true but not meant to be said out loud. Terrible haircuts may fall in that category if they're not fixable. So I'd like to just quickly show you these cards in the Star Child Tarot. Usually I use Star Child Tarot Akashic, but this is just Star Child Tarot. So the Empress here is looking up to the heavens for inspiration, and she's got a glowing light at the center of her chest, showing her divine connection is how I feel. The Queen of Cups in this deck is very much like the Two of Cups. And so we have this relationship. We're showing cooperation and how well the Queen of Cups interfaces with other people. So both of these women are reaching into the water, reaching into intuition and more connection, more communication. So next up in this deck, Queen of Pentacles is called Crystals. And there is a shiny, what is represented as a crystal in the rest of this deck above her head. And she's also got a tiger here just chilling, because that's normal when you're a queen, I suppose. So then the queen that's different, Queen of Swords here. We've got the all-seeing eye, and then the swords which cut through the haze to clarity. She looks very pensive, thoughtful in this pose, whereas the other queens are looking off. or looking down. And then the Queen of Wands in this deck has a black dog, which is representative of Hecate, Queen of Witches, Queen of the Underworld, and many other wonderful realms. All of these queens, except the Queen of Swords, and here's the High Priestess. She's not quite shining as brightly, but this is still a bright area of light around her. All of these queens, but the Queen of Swords, have some illumination right above or around them, showing that these are enlightened people with a true wisdom, deep understanding of their subject matter. So looking through your queens, the Empress and High Priestess, did any of the cards stand out to you, or was there a special detail you noticed in any of your cards?
I noticed that all of them have a subtle triangle in the background. I don't know if that means anything.
Yes, if you are noticing a pattern in tarot, there's almost always a meaning behind it. A lot of the meanings were, I don't want to say lost because some of the knowledge is preserved, but there are some traditions like the Golden Dawn or Hermetic orders where we haven't fully received all of the understanding. The triangle, in my understanding, can be a symbol of divinity of the three aspects. And also, when you have a triangle, it is very well self-reinforced. Every point has the two other points supporting it. And so that can definitely apply to our queens. They have the support of their people, the support of their king, and then at the top, I see that as divine inspiration, where they're listening to their intuition and inner wisdom to rule well.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. What deck are you using today? You always have good decks. The Spiral Tarot. Nice. Is it kind of watercolor?
Yeah, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's an example of the triangle, and they're like in all of them. Some of them are upside down, but they all have triangles in them.
Okay, so that may be fire.
There's the upside down one.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool. The triangle that points down is Earth. Is that your Queen of Pentacles?
This is the High Priestess.
How interesting. That's very cool. There is a system of assigning one of the 4 elements to every tarot card, and I'm not familiar with that, but it very well could be that those are the 4 elements represented.
Oh.
Yeah, I believe that fire is the solid upward triangle and air is the upward triangle with the line through it. I could be incorrect, so do double check that. And I believe that earth is the solid downward triangle and that water has the line through it. Go ahead.
That one is the hollow triangle.
Interesting. Okay.
And swords is air, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly right. In the mind, wanting to talk more.
Oh, I love that. There's so many like little clues in here.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a really fun thing about the study of the tarot. The even the thrones these people are sitting on are representative of their subject matter, their area of dominion. Like we talked about the lions on the Queen of Wands and her sunflowers. The Queen of Swords has clouds around her in more Rider-Waite-Smith style. Queen of Cups has water, And I think the correct term is sylphs, for the beings on the side of her throne. Queen of Swords, what is... Queen of Swords has butterflies, which do represent air. Queen of Pentacles, it looks like she may have some fruit in the background on her throne, but I'm not certain. Oh, let's see. Queen of Cups definitely has mermaids at the top. No, I think sylphs are not water. I think maybe they are fire, so don't quote me on that one either. I'll make sure I know before the next call, but these are definitely mermaids here on the Queen of Cups throne. Our Empress has the most cushy throne. Big cushions, bolster. She's got either a cloak or blanket here behind her, so she is in quite a comfortable position. Our High Priestess does not have a visible throne. Let me check my other deck. That's a little bit more Thoth deck. Yeah, no visible throne in this deck either for the High Priestess. She's actually standing here. And her surroundings are not as luxurious. There are the temple columns, but there's not a lot of decor, not a throne that's visible. So I feel like this represents the more stripped back aspect of being caught in your, caught may not be the best word, but I guess an imbalance of this card could be caught up in the secret wisdom and not caring so much for the material things in this life, being more focused on what can be known and seen. Okay, so I want you to choose one of these 6 queens, whichever one draws you in or seems to call to you most. And from the rest of your deck, I want you to pull 2 cards, whatever method you usually use. Some people like to shuffle twice or shuffle and cut twice. I tend not to cut my cards anymore. I used to cut religiously, but now I'm more likely to just shuffle twice and keep it simple. I play a trading card game called Lorcana that's Disney based with my husband, and I love to cut the other person's deck when given the opportunity. I've gone so far as to make like 7 or 8 small piles of cards that I then stack back up. But the point of cutting the other person's deck is to know that they haven't stacked their cards in a way that constitutes cheating. So if they were counting on a certain card being on top or bottom, it's no longer like that. So that's the point of cutting there. All right, and drawing any 2 cards. I draw the cards that catch my eye and the card that feels the easiest to remove from the deck. And sometimes that ends up being a couple of cards when the deck is being particularly talkative. How interesting. So going with Queen of Swords, several years ago when I was learning tarot, all of my messages came through the swords suit. I had people who were learning like I was, newer, doing readings for me, like trading back and forth as students. And they would go, I better redraw. I need some clarifiers, because they were getting all sorts for me. And I went, no, it's fine. Just give me a message. This is okay. So this morning, we're talking about being back in our heads. So Three of Swords came up last week as well. That's here with us. The Three of Swords is traditionally the heartbreak card. So this may be something not working out that we expected to go at least decently, something that we thought was steady that may be shifting under our feet. So the tarot, of course, doesn't make things happen. It's more like the weather forecast. So this lets us be prepared that something may go difficultly in a difficult way in our week ahead. And then I got the Ten of Swords, which is being stabbed in the back, basically until dead. So, Ten of Swords, we're looking at, it typically represents betrayal. And my husband is laughing because I'm laughing about Ten of Swords. Traditionally considered a bad card. So, looking at betrayal, looking at your contributions being undervalued is what I'm feeling today. And something coming up from behind you that is surprising, not something that's been in your view. The swords are the suit of truth. And so I feel like there may be some truth creeping up on us that we've either chosen to ignore or just have not considered. So interpreting those as a message from the queen that you chose, for example, swords are straight to the point, cups, we're talking about the social butterfly queen who is caring. So from the Queen of Swords, this message feels like be aware so that you can step back instead of going over the cliff of something unexpected this week. This feels like being more reflective and perhaps taking another thought, another moment to think before we jump right into things because we don't know what's on the other side of the cliff. This puts us kind of in the fool's position where it could be solid ground when we step off the cliff, but it could also be air and now we're falling. So I feel like this is letting us know to keep our eyes open so that we can limit damage this week. Would anyone like to share what they pulled or thoughts on what I pulled? No problems if you don't.
I'll share what I pulled if you want. I started with the High Priestess, and I'll turn my camera on. I apologize if my hair is doing crazy shit.
Oh no, you're fine. Totally fine.
Because my cards are, oh wow, look at, I'm like, that's not my room. Okay, I have some kind of background system. Like for a second, it's like, wow, who am I and where am I?
Where am I?
Oh, let me see if I can make it show. I don't know if you can see that. I'm using the Housewives Tarot.
Mhm.
So it looks kind of like a jar of syrup. And the front of it
does.
says, Secret Syrup. The mysteries of the universe are sweeter than you know, with grade A butter. One of the things that I noticed when we were going through the cards earlier is
Cups.
she does actually look like she's got a crown on, and it's just the top, like the screw on top, but it does look like a crown to me. And then the other two are the Eight of Cups. And again, I don't know if I can make it show, but she's kind of got a look on her face like, I don't know if I can keep these all like balanced because they're all stacked up. And she's like, oh, this is so much work. That's how I'm interpreting that. And then the last card is the Devil, and it's chocolate devil's food cake with legs. And then it's got like
Cake with legs really could be troublesome.
And it's holding a cigarette, and it's got horns. And then there's like little, I don't know how well you can see them, but there's like little things around it, and they are like they're vices basically. There's Valium, there's instant coffee, there's something that's supposed to be spam, ready cheese. Oh, and she's holding a martini. So, or it's holding a martini. So I have no idea what any of that means. But I love this deck because it's so much fun.
Yeah, I feel like those are the deck creators' interpretations of what might be qualified as vices, which
Yeah.
now, if you ask Starbucks employees about the Starbucks Via instant coffee, you'll get all manner of contorted reactions. So maybe it really is a vice.
I think a lot of people consider coffee or anything that you kind of come to depend on a vice. Yeah.
Yeah, can be.
Yeah. So like I said, I really don't know kind of what they mean or what they are saying in relation to everything.
So 8 of Cups is you've gotten some cups spilled and you're walking away. It's like walking away from a mess, cutting your losses, and moving on. The figure in the Rider-Waite-Smith 8 of Cups is crossing over a river or stream. And so there's like a washing away of the past. And it may be that those are things that are coming up this week that we're going to need to release just as quickly as they come in.
Okay. That actually lands for me in a couple of ways. Yeah.
Yeah, and release also ties in with the devil well, because like you were saying about addictions and vices, these are things that are not beneficial to you.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the devil means fun, sexy time, but I'm not sensing it here with the 8 of Cups.
No, that actually ties in. Yeah. The way you explain that, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. That makes sense now. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Thank you both very much. We, at the bottom of the document, we've just got whichever group you did not come from. We've got Crossroads Collective, and Digital Spellcasters Collective has had a little bit of a glow up. I've changed the name to Social Spell Collective to be more specific about what we do, because a digital spellcaster could be doing all number of things like creating websites or so on and so forth. So just wanted to be a little bit more specific. And I will see you hopefully next week, same bat time, same bat channel.
Is it okay to pop in real quick and just share what I got for
Yes,
myself?
please.
Knight of Cups and Strength. And then I just used one of the ladies, so I pulled the Empress.
Mhm.
So I got those 3 together.
Did you have a sense of what they were meaning together as a message from the Empress?
Not yet, but I like pulling Strength. I feel hopeful when I pull Strength.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't recall what Knight of Cups is off the top of my head.
Nine of Cups can be like a playboy. That's not usually the term I use first, but and a ladies' man if we're seeing them as a masculine figure, but someone basically pretty attractive and pretty skilled with their words, perhaps a little slick even. So they also are like the social butterfly aspect of the Queen of Cups, but there may be a little edge under there of selfishness, getting what they want. So I feel like that with Strength, though, could be pointing out that the Knight of Cups is still a knight, and in the traditional tarot decks, they are wearing their armor, they are on their horse and ready to go out and have that adventure. So that may be adventure coming for you that you're more prepared for than you think.
Ooh, I like that interpretation.
Thank you for sharing. All right, my friends, I am going to close it here unless anyone has anything else. All right. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week, if not sooner.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.